10:01. No, seeing no adjustments to the agenda,
No adjustments?
no comments from the public.
No public. Public here in person.
Abe Lincoln on the.
Yay, Lincoln's on the side. He's trying to. Is that funny that it picks
Where'd he
him up?
go? He moved again. Minutes approval from April 14th. Move that we approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed say no. And we move on to financial report. Let's see. So we're at 63.85% of the budget with 1 month left.
May and June, yep. So I think we're gonna be in good shape.
Mhm.
You know, I don't see us needing any supplies. No more meetings and travel. Mileage, the printing and copying, I'll do an adjustment for at the end of the year. We'll do the advertising for the grievances, so there will be a little bit of advertising.
Mhm.
Postage, we'll do another adjustment at the end of the year. Gonna be a little over on phone.
The only other training that's listed is May 14th is that's not the only other training, but it's the one on appeals.
Yep.
And I can do that virtually?
You can, they're doing both. It's in person and virtual.
Okay.
It's in Montpelier if you want to.
And
do
are
it.
we already a member? Because when you go to
Yes.
sign
We,
out, it asks if I want to set up an account, so I should get the,
Oh, through VLCT?
yeah,
Yeah,
The
you should
information
already,
to
you
sign
should
up.
already be, yeah, but I can
Okay.
help you do that.
all right.
Everything else is. Zero. Mapping, we know we're over. I don't think there'll be any other professional services. We haven't needed the lawyer. There will be legal because he's reviewing the contract right now.
Mhm.
So
Oh, for the
reappraisal. Yep, so there will be some legal. We'll have to look at the managed services versus the software. I'm wondering if we coded something wrong. One's way over, one's way under.
okay. So let's move on to the appraisal contract update.
Yep, so the contract's been sent to Mike Tarrant. He is reviewing it. I haven't heard back from him yet. Christy Wright and Benton also reviewed it at PDR and don't see any issues with it. Everything's there very clearly what the town's responsible for, what they're responsible for, the two-prong test, the whole thing. It was all there, so they were satisfied with it.
Okay. Equalization study appeal, follow-up.
Yep, so I did hear back and they made a mistake. We questioned why the numbers changed so much based on the one property that we appealed not being included in the equalization and it took them a little while to figure it out, but when they ran the numbers for those that had appealed, something about they did it using reappraisal numbers and not, they're supposed to do it without the reappraisal numbers. But they decided and checked with the director to let it go, because we weren't the only ones who were wrong. Everybody who had filed an appeal, they had done them all at the same time and they were all wrong.
Oh,
But they decided to go with it. Because in our case, I don't know about everybody else, but in our case, it did drop our COD below that 20%, but we're past the 6-year mark. So we would need to reappraise anyway. It doesn't affect the CLA, so it really, they didn't think would affect anything. So they let it go. Yeah.
But it's still inaccurate.
It's still inaccurate, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So,
But everybody's inaccurate.
but everybody who had appealed is inaccurate.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how many people appeal. I have I have no idea, and maybe we were the only ones, I don't know. But that's what they wanted to do. So Carl signed it, it's been submitted, and I guess that's it.
So what is the stipulation agreement?
The stipulation agreement was that we accept their findings, and Carl signed that after. They only had 10 days to do it.
Yeah.
We're already past the 10 days, but Benton knew that because it took them a little while to figure out what had gone wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Access GIS site.
Yes, so I wanted to give you an update after you attended your training and said to reach out to Chris Mealy at Nemrick. I did. And they are working on getting us we had talked and agreed last year to have the property cards put on the Nemrick property cards online. So they're gonna do that, and it'll be once a year after we file the grand list. So that the property cards match what the assessment is, and also the photos. We've been wondering why the photos are not updating. They're gonna take the photos once a year because you don't want somebody, let's say, they're assessed at a piece of property where there's only a foundation, and then we take a picture in the fall that it's a full dwelling, and then the assessment, somebody looks at the assessment and says, well, that's a full house, why are they only being assessed at $100,000? Which makes sense. So the property card, the photos, and the assessment will all match, so when somebody's looking at it, those three pieces will hopefully make sense. And then every year we'll update it so that the new assessment cards go out, the new photos and the values.
So it'll be at the time when the grand list
Is lodged and
Lodged,
finalized, yep,
okay.
in July. So after the grievance hearings, everything, once the final list is done.
Okay,
So then they'll all be updated.
Then they'll all be updated, and then the maps will be updated, so the maps, the tax maps. The assessment, the property cards, the photos, and the assessment value should all match what's in that grand list value for the year. And then going forward, we'll just update the names. We agreed to update the names as property changes, and that would be it. Okay, so as the property sells, it will reflect on the new, although I don't know about, I don't think the property cards will. If they only pull those once a year.
Hmm.
So
for the actual grand list, well,
the actual. No, the grand list won't, because the names are as of April 1st. So should we just leave it all the way? So it's as of April 1st, this is your value, and then. That's what's online so that the names, the values, the property cards, the photos.
everything is updated. then.
Updated at that once a year with that's up to you guys.
So when they're online, the general public can go in and look it up. Should there be like a disclosure?
If that's the way we're gonna do it, that this information is as of April
As of
1st or
April
April 1st. So it's the
Okay.
property on record, the owner of record, the value, the photos, everything as of April 1st.
So we would still go in and fix our maps as we have.
So we go and do the working stuff and make all the changes for the year, and then when we finalize it in July, everything gets updated, and that's the new grant list with all the information, supporting information.
We have the working grand list that we work on every day. Then there's the grand list that was filed as of April 1st. So they're two separate things.
Yeah, so we would continue doing the updates on the working, and the as-built will be the final.
But what is gonna show online? The April 1st or the?
April
The
1st.
April 1st, not all the changes that are made during the year.
Okay, that has been a confusing issue.
It's been confusing.
Yeah. Well, it's been confusing. Wow, okay,
So I think if we get these two pieces finalized,
Fixed.
yeah,
yeah,
the photos, because we're finding the photos, we're finding properties that have been changed 2 years ago that are not reflected in that online thing.
yeah,
So I think if we,
inactive that are still not.
Yeah.
Made active.
yeah,
So will that will automatically be done by Nemrick when the grand list is
so there's
filed?
going to be a link between Nemrick and Axis. And they'll pull it. So I think we're gonna have to coordinate with Access and say, okay, we're done. Let's update this,
Okay.
this, and this, and how do we do all that? Because I think they're gonna need access to our NEMR file and.
Yeah, okay,
So,
yeah.
So do we somehow notify people that they can go on their home computer and?
that's a good idea. So when we do it, of course, they can't read it.
Yeah. it's true.
It's too late.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea. I can put something like, we'll put something on the website, we'll put something maybe on Front Porch Forum. Maybe a little, we could do the North Hero News in the
They get it.
Islander.
They get a notice anyway, if their
Something
property.
changed.
Right, if something's
value has
changed.
Right, yeah.
And they'll have time to read it and then, yeah,
So one of the things on my calendar to do this week was to update the whole grievance process on the website and kind of give it. Make sure it's all up to date and this is, the time frame. This is what you can do. You receive a notice if we've changed anything. You won't receive a notice if nothing's changed. And I kind of do that too. Yeah. So I'll send a Front Porch Forum, we'll do Islander. And website. We also have a news section on the website that we can do for like a short period of time, like this is, we'll check out your values or whatever.
Mhm.
We can do that.
Okay, training,
Okay, so you were going to update us on the training requirements, but they didn't really say anything, right?
well, they said that everybody has to do the training that I went to, that there wasn't like an exception, because there were people there that had been listers for 20 years,
So that is the new lister training.
new lister training.
Is that all? Or do you have to do that other one too? What we didn't get an answer on is, do you have to do the full training program, like to be a true assessor? Or do
Right.
you just have to do that step one, that level one? Or is it just the new lister training?
Or is it just a new lister training? Because we thought that it was the new lister training, the ethics training. And then there's another one, right?
I thought that level one was an A100, AIO 100, level 100.
They did not address that.
They didn't address it.
I should have asked a question. What was actually required? So let me ask them.
And then we do have effective BCA property tax assessment appeal hearings training offered through VLCT on the 14th from 9 to 2:30. It's in person in Montpelier or via Zoom. If anybody is interested in that. I'm gonna plan on taking that. Kathy's gonna plan on taking that.
Status of work, everything, on this list is up to date as of April 1st, so that changes have been done. Sales verification letters, the last 4 went out. Building permits, we now,
The building permits are all logged, they're in, and we're pretty much through the list of inspections for building permits. I think we found a garage that, and have learned that it was included in the original building permit it was a detached garage with the house. And when the house was inspected, it was closed out, like it was taken off the spreadsheet, it was taken off. So, we were out there driving, I'm like, I don't think we have that garage on there. I don't remember seeing that, and sure enough, when I went back, it was on the original building. So, note to self, I've got to be careful about when things are included in the original building permit, that we don't just close them out when the house is built. Or the built with an attached garage. So anyway,
So the property cards are updated as of April 1.
yep,
but they haven't been updated online until we submit the grand list,
correct.
Okay, so the grievances that were.
right? In case there's a grievance.
Changed. Will be April 1 plus any grievance changes
Yes.
will also be included. Right?
Yes.
So
Because
when
then
we
you file it
final,
in June, right? It's like June.
yeah, I've got the schedule as one of the last things, uh, so grievance hearings have to be completed by July 25th, and then, deadline for filing the BCA appeal is 14 days after that, but our tax bills have to go out by July 20th, 30 days before our first payment, so we're gonna be done with grievances long before that, so.
We usually do in the beginning of June.
So you have to start them by July 19th. They have to be started by July 19th, so we have to file on June 2nd. Okay, the abstract grand list. So at our meeting on June 2nd, we'll have the abstract grand list. You guys will sign the 411 report.
Mhm.
We will post around town about the grievances. The town office, you have to have 4 places, so town office, we're gonna do the library, Heroes Welcome, Harborside Market, and the town website. We'll mail the change of assessment notices that day. And any change, current use notices are mailed that day too,
And what date is that?
June 2nd.
So they have 2 weeks.
From June second.
Then they have
June
14
2nd.
days from June 2nd, yep, and
Okay.
that brings us to June 17th. 18th or 19th, and the grievance hearings have to be started by June 19th. So
Okay.
we can look at the calendar and decide 17th, 18th, 19th, whatever day that week. And then if we need an additional day, the grievance hearings have to be completed by July. Last year we only had 1 day,
Yeah. Last couple of years, you've only had one.
1 day. So. I mean, we could do a second day, but I have to have tax bills done by, out by July 20th, so. Which I need to have the grand list done. And finalized to do that next step.
Okay.
I'm hoping by the end of June, we're done with grievance hearings and it's done, it's done. Well, then we can upload the property cards, we can upload the new photos, we can upload the final
Yeah. And last year, we settled on most of them by phone anyway.
prior to that day. We had a few
Yeah.
people come in that day, but that was it.
Yeah. All the pictures have been uploaded. At this point, that are going to be on the revised list. The PTTR entries are all done. And what did I put down, I had something about, just that I attended that Lister training. So,
So we're in good shape. We have to do the islands. I mean, I feel like I've been doing a ton of training because there's just a ton of training right now. I told you I did the ethics training. I think I did that last time. The ethics, the IAAO ethics training for my level 2. I did that. I completed that. So site inspections, we are in really good shape. We have a few interior inspections to do. And I'm trying to get a hold of people to schedule those. We have Butler Island and Damius Island to schedule.
I think there's only 4 or 5 on.
Yeah, there's only,
There is
I
one.
think 5 on Butler and 1 on Damius, so that's not gonna be. So we're in good shape. I still have several to enter, into the system, but, I think we're gonna make it. By June 2nd. The review of assessment changes. Yep. So last time Bogger, Dale and Sarah showed up, it was $400 off and I didn't know why. When I entered their homestead, it came up as an error and I think there was at some point a correction to their deck square footage. And when I opened the thing, it downloaded it. It accepted the change, the $400 change. It was just it's a discrepancy with the deck footage, so that's been fixed, but that was the $400. Boschemans down on Rock Ledge Drive added a tool shed, 16 by 16 tool shed. David Bird has added a 48 by 40 2-story garage and then added a deck, a huge deck and stairs and a lean-to to this 48 by 40 garage. So that's the change there. The Conway, Pamela Morris, that was down on 7 Point North. And I had waited for Kathy to upload the photos because I wasn't sure, so that was just a correction made. They had an addition, they did an enclosed addition, a covered deck, and a enclosed porch. So that was just a correction. The gets is we added the tool shed. I corrected the tool shed value. Green Mountain Amenities added a carport. Down on Pilots Point, Kristen Beam Carport. Mannion, added a 2-story garage. Detached garage. Angie Morano added a 20 by 20 addition, which was part of their deck, so it reduced the deck size. And we changed an open deck to a screen deck. Jim Martin, added a 37 by 60 steel, like a shop for him, that burned down a couple years ago. Gene Olet down on US Route 2, just before the school, had a 1.5-story detached garage. That last year was just a slab. Planky down on Sunset View, that dwelling is now 100% complete. David Pryor and Karen, that is enclosed porch and open deck and steps, and I can't for the life of me think of where that one is. Oh, that's down on Bow and Arrow Point. Yep. Dan and Missy Roberge added a tool shed, a 12 by 20 tool shed. Rossi's, the dwelling style 100% complete, and we added the expansion to the garage and called that 95%. They've come out on both sides of that garage down by the drawbridge. So Schroeder, yep, the garage, we had it in at 70% complete, it's just missing the siding, so we changed that to 75% complete because I have to check on that because they tell me outbuildings you should put in at 80%. Good. Always start at 80%, which is why I did it at 75. But I'm thinking a 1-story garage should be 100%. That may need time to see what the other garages, detached garages are showing. And I think that was it.
Okay. On the calendar,
So the calendar, I'm working on homestead declarations. Benton and I are gonna get together and work on current use. And that's everything for May. We have the veterans exemptions. Just load those in. So June, the big one is filing the abstract grand list for people, populations less than 5,000. And mail the change of appraisal notices. So, and then the 19th, the grievance hearings begin.
so at our next meeting, we will do the change of appraisal. So this is,
Yes.
because we learned this that day.
Sign, yes. We'll have them all printed, ready to go. And we'll sign the grand list, and once it's signed, we can mail them. So does that, are you going to participate in grievance hearings or no?
I thought it was required.
Yeah, I understand.
Did you do it last year with us? I don't think you did.
Was I understand? Oh, no, my wife had surgery the same day.
So we had two.
Was Dave there?
Dave was there, and I was there.
Yeah, I figured.
You were gonna play? Okay, you're gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah, I'd seen.
I'm gonna play.
You're gonna play? Okay. So, okay, no more surgeries. That's good.
Don't allow it.
That's good. Okay, so June 2nd, we'll plan, we have till the 4th of June to file the abstract grand list. So I figured we'd do it at our monthly meeting in June, which is the 2nd. I've already told Corinne she'll be available to sign it on the accept it and,
Okay,
okay? Then Kathy and I can mail the letters that day, we'll have them ready to go. So grievance hearings. What day, and do you guys need, maybe you need to get back to me about what works for you all? I've already talked to Corinne that it was gonna be that week, so. The 17th, 18th, or 19th. I suppose but they have to have 14 days, so we can't do it Monday, the 16th, what I was figuring. So the 17th, 18th, and we have to do them by the 19th.
So that's Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday,
Thursday.
Wednesday, or Thursday. Yep.
And you're thinking it'll just be one day?
That's what we did. We had what, one day for in the morning?
yeah, I mean, we went 9 to 12. And because if you have the meeting, then it's a warned meeting, you don't have to be there even if no one shows up. So, or some of us have to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we always had one on a Saturday so that people who worked could get there. But it depends on the grievances that come in.
Right. They have to be done by the 19th.
They have to be started by the
Started
19th. So by statute, we have to start them. Grievance hearings, it says begin, so. Grievance hearing begins less than 50 people, and where did I read? It had to be started by the 15th.
So if they mail them the second, they have 15 days to appeal. So they'd have to appeal by the 17th. So it'd be kind of hard to actually schedule one for the 17th.
Yeah,
That's the last day they could appeal. So. I think they have
Schedule
to
for the
go
18th?
The 18th.
Wednesday, the
is a
18th.
Wednesday.
Yep.
don't we need time to go over?
Look at the appeals.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did they usually, they come in right away? I should, I didn't think about that.
I do know that we scheduled it, and we had the day and people came in. And then after that, remember we did Hazen last and we went down and did a site inspection down there?
Yeah.
Remember he wanted us to see his property?
Yeah. We went that same day.
We did. We scheduled him later in the day, like later
1
in the
o'clock or
morning,
something
like,
right after,
yeah.
yeah.
And then we listened to him and then we went down there. But we only had 3 people come in.
yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of up in the air until you figure out
Yeah.
who's making a grievance, so,
Right.
but we'll know it's that week,
Yes.
yeah, so.
And then we can go into the next week. It just says, where was I reading that? It had to start by the 19th. Because it says there,
Right.
it's not, that's 2024.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going by what statute says, okay, like it says, like here, you have to do it by the 4th.
Yeah.
So
June 2nd is a Monday.
June 2nd is a Monday.
It's just the 17th, so.
So did you schedule it, like, for people to just come in between 9 and noon?
No, they had appointments.
Okay.
We did appointments,
Yeah,
so that we didn't have, 2 and 3 people.
and we did have phone calls and we did
Emails
emails
with questions.
Yeah, questions.
We could do 2 hours on the 18th and 2 hours on the 21st, which is a Saturday. We could do it the following weekend.
I think that's gonna be plenty, honestly. Even the
The
We were kinda
21st,
surprised
I'm
when
going
we-
out of town.
big assessments,
Hmm,
didn't even question them. It was more about, I don't have a deck or I don't have
yeah,
I mean, we won't have that this year.
Okay, so what was it? So Bergeron questioned something. He wanted to get a full appraisal done.
It was a apartment over a garage. And as we talked it through, it does have an apartment over there. And so it was kind of. And we did have the one on the islands, because the survey was wrong. And we
Oh,
had a
right,
couple
you
of
did
those
come
during-
in, yeah,
we've had a couple during the year this year where
yeah.
they said that's not, my property's not that, and we went and checked it, and they were right, and we fixed it on the maps. So. The one that. To where, the solar panels are. Had taken off. A deck, had taken off something else, and so we reduced it by that. But we've been out to almost every property this year to kind of fix things like that. And to check on building permits. Some people haven't started, even though they had a permit. So I think 2 hours on the 18th and 2 hours on the 21st will probably be plenty.
Can we do the 28th?
You wanna do the 28th instead?
The 21st, I'm heading out of town.
Okay,
My nephew's graduating, and I gotta go to Syracuse. Yeah. June 20.
I mean, we didn't have one on a Saturday.
Well, it depends
That's
on the
true.
people, you
Right.
know, if they request it, then you gotta do it.
Right. We'll do the 28th. Haven't had calendar with me, but that's far enough ahead there.
Yeah. And the 28th is what day of the week?
It's a
Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay,
And the 18th is
So the 18th is a Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Yep.
and this is a Saturday.
And then Saturday, the 28th.
Yeah.
And what times do you want to do them?
9 to 11.
On the 18th?
Mhm. And do the same on the 28th.
so you think the 18th and the 28th is enough?
I think it's one, that's
Okay.
last year.
Okay,
And if we have a
yeah.
ton, we'll just have to.
Yeah, we'll
expand
have
the
to,
time.
yeah.
okay. Then the 28th do 9 to 11?
Mhm.
Okay. And that's a Saturday, and the 18th is a Wednesday.
Okay, that takes care of future, and we have to sign the grant on June 2nd.
June 2nd, we're gonna sign it, yep. We'll post everything about the grievance hearings, and we'll mail out the assessment notices all on the 2nd.
Okay,
Then we'll have the grievance hearings. And then the final. So the 28th,
oh, we have to sign the final grant list, right?
yeah, so that's gonna put us. Cause the next week is July 4th week. So our meeting will be on July 7th.
And that's within the time frame.
Yeah.
Yep, okay,
Then I can work on tax billing starting on the 8th.
okay,
And get them out by the 12th maybe. Provided the school doesn't do something. In between that.
and ethics, we have our ethics training right after this meeting. And our next meeting then will be June 2nd. And then a motion to adjourn.
So. Adjourn.
Second,
A second.
say aye. Okay.